Atletico Madrid are constantly in the shadow of their rivals Real Madrid, who have just added Kylian Mbappe to their Champions League winning side. And I genuinely believe this is now the ultimate final boss club in world football, especially under Don Carlo. Despite this, Atletico Madrid have had a rather strange transfer window. They sold Samu Omorodion, the beast, to Porto, which to me is a big mistake. And the whole saga with João Felix in the last few seasons has been a bit of a laughing stock, and their signings have been odd to say the least. Alongside Conor Gallagher was Julian Alvarez, who's a great player, they just paid quite a lot of money. Other main signings include Lenormand from Sociedad and Alexander Sorloth up front from Villarreal. It might all work out, but from an outside perspective, the direction the club seems to be going backwards. So this is where I'm coming in as the new manager of Atletico Madrid. Because if we are going to win that La Liga title, we need to develop a plan. In the first 3 years, I'm not expecting to challenge Real Madrid for any league titles. In this period, I'm going to be transitioning the older players out of the club and looking to bring in new, whether that to be to raise money in the future sales or just to get us by and take us to the next level. But I'm still targeting 3 La Liga trophies within 10 seasons. And in total, across the 10 seasons, my aim is to win 10 trophies, including Super Cups. And hopefully, there'll be a European trophy along the way too. That would be great. But one of the other targets during these 10 seasons is to develop 3 Spanish talents at Atletico Madrid. And those players could be through our own youth academy or players that we have bought from other Spanish clubs or even abroad to develop into Spanish players for our first team. So let's kick things off in season number 1 at Atletico. Now, I decided not to make any signings in or out. We are just sticking with the squad that we already have. In pre-season and in the first couple of games, I toyed around with a couple of different tactics, but I landed on a narrow 4-3-3 with 2 false 9s, including the new signing Julian Alvarez and Griezmann, who seem to take up those roles quite well. I think we can create enough chances, I just don't know whether Sorloth can score enough of them for us. He's a good striker, I just don't think he's on the elite level that we need to score a lot of goals. But for now, I'm willing to give him a chance and see if he can prove us wrong. He did manage to score the opening goal of the league campaign in a 3-0 win against Bilbao, but since then has yet to get back on the score sheet. And we've already played against our main rivals Real Madrid, and Kylian Mbappe, he scored a hat-trick against us. Other than that though, we have won our other 3 games without conceding a goal. So for this first season, I'm willing to just try and find our feet, see what happens. The positive signs are there. We know Real Madrid are too good. I'm not expecting to beat them in season 1. So with that being said, let's simulate the rest of season number 1 and find out just how far behind we've got to climb to catch up with those 2 big clubs. Well, we've got to January and I'm actually kind of happy with where we are. We're behind Real Madrid, but we are above Barcelona by a good 7 points. And the board, they're backing us. £31 million added to the transfer budget for us to spend. And I also added to this budget by selling Samuel Lino to Liverpool for £20 million. And I sold that left-sided player because I really felt like we needed to upgrade or at least give some squad depth to the right-hand side, and that's why I brought in Jan Couto. He's got pink hair, but we'll let that slide anyway. £48.5 million from Manchester City. He is a cracking player and he has played in this league through Girona. I think he's going to be a good asset to add to the side. I also picked up a bit of a bargain in Weston McKennie. He's just 26 years of age, and I really like his attributes. He's just such a solid worker and can play in a lot of different positions. And he's only £5 million. I couldn't say no to that. I know it's quite unlikely we'll win the La Liga, but hey, we're still in the competition and we're still in the Champions League and the Copa del Rey. So let's get to the end of the season and see if we can pick up any of our trophies. No surprises, the winner of season number 1 is Real Madrid. They finished on 98 points in the end. Rodrigo and Vinicius Jr. both had 23 goals. Kylian Mbappe only had 22. I'm quite surprised by that. They did dominate the average rating. We finished in 3rd place though. 82 points, which I still think is quite good with 38 games played. We somehow managed to slip behind Barcelona, who finished on 85 though. 8 games lost in total, and we lost both games against Real Madrid, which is not good. Unfortunately, we also lost in the Copa del Rey quarter-final to Barcelona 3-1 at home, which is not good. You need to be beating these teams if you're going to win any trophies in Spain. And despite us winning 1-0 in the second leg of the quarter-final in the Champions League to Inter Milan, we still lost 3-4 on aggregate to the Italian side. So it is a trophyless season for season number 1, but I don't expect anything too early. really. So we'll just have to build on this. Sorloth got 24 goals. It's okay. 18 from Griezmann, 16 from Julian Alvarez, which is lower than what I thought. Rodrigo de Paul actually had a cracking season from more of a centre mid situation going on there. So tactically, I'm still unsure whether I like this narrow 4-3-3 for Atletico Madrid or not, but the board have only given us another £25 million going into the summer, so I feel like we have to sell players if we want to bring in anyone better. And so I cashed in on Antoine Griezmann. He has gone to Saudi Arabia. The 34-year-old now went for £29 million. I unfortunately couldn't get as much for Saul, who left to go to Valencia for just £7 million. But I definitely like the replacements. I brought in Kefren Turam, who at 24 I think is a better player than Saul and kind of fits more roles for what I would like to do, and he costs just £17.5 million. That's two centre midfielders that I've picked up from Juve for just really cheap. At the back, I felt like we needed a better left-sided defender to go next to Jimenez, and that's why I picked up William Pacho. The Ecuadorian is only 23 years of age. I love his pace, I love his strength. Positioning-wise, he's good. He's also a good passer of the ball too, which is fantastic for me. £22.5 million from PSG, I think, is an absolute steal. And I mentioned now I was a little unsure with Alexander Sorloth, so I brought in Victor Gyökeres. Now, he's a striker that I absolutely love. I think he's fantastic. The aggression, the work rate is fantastic for a team that wants to be pressing from the front. He has a lot of pace. His natural fitness is high as well. Strength of 18, beats the offside track. He's a good finisher of the ball, and he's already got 4 goals in 4 games. He costs £47 million, but if he gets a goal every game, then that's, again, an absolute bargain in my eyes. Tactically, I've made some subtle tweaks to the 4-3-3. We're still going with the 2 false nines up front, but we now have a pressing forward for Gyökeres. I'm going to nail in Thuram and Yankuto on that right-hand side of midfield and at right back because I want them to play most of the season. And we have started off well this season. We haven't played any of the big boys yet, but we've won 4 games from 4 and we're currently sitting top of La Liga. Hopefully we continue to play that well and we can maybe put up a fight and even pick up a trophy in season number 2. Season number 2, and this is a big improvement despite not winning the title. 95 points, we're above Barcelona by 4 points. Real Madrid, though, they're just too good. 101 points. We did manage to beat them, though, and we only lost 3 games in total. We just drew too many. Kylian Mbappe has found his feet in Spain, though, with 39 goals in just 34 appearances. And Victor Gyökeres even got 27 in his first season. The Super Cups, though, we were eliminated at the semi-final stage by Barcelona, unfortunately, and Real Madrid went on to lift it. In the Champions League, we finished down in 21st. We actually lost to Barcelona in the group stage there, as well as PSG and Feyenoord, but we did go through to the knockout playoff round where we eliminated Chelsea on penalties. Unfortunately, we could not get past Arsenal as they then defeated us on penalties after a 3-3 aggregate score. They went on to the final, though, where they lost to AC Milan. However, guys, we've got our first trophy of the video because we have won the Copa del Rey. We defeated Barcelona in extra time 3-2 in the final. What a game as well to beat one of the big ones in that final. Angel Correa got 2 and Yano Montserrat, who has actually been playing quite a lot recently, got a 120th minute goal. What a winner just before the penalty shootout. So it's a good season. We've got our hands on our first trophy out of the 10 that we are planning to win. We're still nowhere catching Real Madrid in terms of the league, but this team, I think, is better than while we picked it up. Now, when we go into season number 3, we just need to capitalize on that. I think we are going to be selling a few players this summer. There's a few players such as the new guy, Conor Gallagher, who only started 12 games. That's costing around about 50, was valued around about £50 million. If we can bring that into the club, then we'll benefit by bringing in better players using that money. And that's on top of a transfer budget of £54 million by the board. I actually sold a lot more players than what I anticipated, but Conor Gallagher stays. 29-year-old Lenormand did leave the club, though. He's gone to Saudi Arabia for £39 million. Joining him is Rodrigo de Paul, who is also 32 now and went for the same price of around about £34 million. Rodrigo Riquelme also left the club. He's gone for 22 million, and so has Thomas Lemar, the 30-year-old Frenchman has gone to Leipzig for £8 million. Finally, we say goodbye to Koke after a fantastic career at Atletico Madrid. 34 years of age now. He come through the youth academy for 4.5 billion, but he kept kicking off and really wanted to leave. But this is the type of player that we need to be finding. I mentioned I need to target 3 or at least 3 Spanish players to either come through the youth academy or to buy young who are Spanish and develop into first team players. We're into season number 3 now. There's not going to be a lot around. Real players, I don't think there's a name that I really want to put in there. Samuel Marodion, if he did decide to come back, would be great. I think we're going to have to wait a couple of years. This was, however, a mega transfer window for me because Giancarlo Simic was the first name through the door. He's a 21-year-old German centre-back. He already looks fantastic. I love his physicals. And we only picked him up for £25 million from Anderlecht. Dorgu is a 21-year-old Danish left-back that I picked up. Again, really good physicals for just £13 million. And kind of taking Rodrigo de Paul's role as that rotational midfielder is Martin Baturina, a really good attacking-sided midfielder who can be kind of an all-rounder who plays in that centre of midfield for 15 million. I have future plans for Franco Mastantuono. He's only 19 right now, so I'm keeping him in the under-19s, trying to loan him out, but nobody really wanted him, which shocks me. But the 19-year-old only came in for 6.25 million. Another bargain, though, and another Italian, the 24-year-old Parola comes in. He's only 24, a fantastic left-footed centre-back, and he only cost me £15 million. But this is when I started to spend big money because coming in the door, 21-year-old João Neves. Now, I know João Felix didn't work out very well, a former Benfica player, but João Neves, I think he'll be very good. I think he'll be absolutely fantastic for us. I've got a great role for him. He's got good aggression, fantastic mentals already for just 21. And PSG have not been really using him. He needs some love. He needs some game time. £51 million. We're going to give him the game time. We're going to give him the love. And he's going to pay us back with a lot of development. However, he wasn't the player we spent the most money on because coming through the door was João Pedro. It's going to get annoying with all the Joãos, but hey. Brazilian comes in and he's natural across the front 3 or up front. I do not buy this guy enough. He is phenomenal and he costs £76 million, which is a lot. Don't get me wrong, but he did get 13 goals in the Premier League for Brighton last season. I'm hoping he can get some this season in La Liga. Now, I haven't switched it up tactically. I kind of just kept it as it was because it was doing quite well for me, and last season was a bit of a success considering our points tally. But I am going to nail in Dorgu, Simic, and Yan Couto. So when I do simulate the season, I want those guys playing as many games as possible. But for some reason, we're picking up a lot of injuries. Kefren Thuram's got injured. So has Jan Oblak, and I think João Pedro picked up a bad injury, to be fair, as well. And Yan Couto, I think, is actually out for a while as well, of a hamstring injury. So we need to get over these injuries and kind of progress through the season and try and see what we can do. But if you are enjoying this video and want to see more, make sure you press that subscribe button. We're en route to 150k now, and you can help us get there. Now, the start of the season has not gone well. We've already lost to Real Madrid 2-1. And despite us having a lot of chances against Real Sociedad, we lost 2-0 to them at the start of the season too. And in our first 4 games of the season, not only did we play Real Madrid, but we also played Barcelona, and Ter Stegen got man of the match, and the game finished 0-0. Our only win at the start of the season came away from home against Espanyol as we beat them 4-3 with Gyökeres scoring 2 goals. So we need to make sure we pull our socks up if we're going to win a trophy this season. So let's kick it on and simulate season number 3. Well, it's a bit of a backward step in terms of La Ligas. We've dropped behind Barcelona again and dropped by a lot of points. They finished just 1 point behind Real Madrid, but we finished 20 points behind them, losing 9 games. Victor Gyökeres still got 24 goals, but Kylian Mbappe got 32. Oh, it was a big chance wasted in the Super Cup as we lost in the final 1-0 to Barcelona, and in the semi-final we actually got past Rayo Vallecano on penalties. We couldn't retain the Copa del Rey, and that was because of a very terrible performance at home when we lost 3-1 in the first leg, and in the second leg it was just a 0-0 draw. And it did get a little worse in the Champions League. Now, we finished in 14th place in the league phase. We lost to both Manchester clubs. We drew to Young Boys, Liverpool and Milan, and we did beat 3 clubs, including Celtic. And I highlighted them because we then played against them in the knockout playoff round, and they eliminated us 5-2. So after last season's success, this was a bit of a down point. I'll give you that, down point of the season, but the team is still strong. I still think we have a better squad. We just need to find a system that's going to work for them. 30 goals from Victor Gyökeres, 15 from João Pedro. Only 9 from Julian Alvarez. I mean, he did get 15 assists, which was great. I think it might even be the highest. It was just above Yan Couto. But yeah, I'm a little stuck and unsure on what system we need to get these guys in to get them firing on all cylinders. And there might be some names that we have to sell this season. We've only got £26 million. However, 2 new names coming in the door on free transfers. Amin Gori being one of them. He's a fantastic striker or left winger. Really good player from Rennes, who I dislike, and we won't talk about that. Pervis Estupinian, though, he's 29, so it is a little bit of a weird signing for me, but I figured 1 or 2 seasons, then we can maybe sell him on for a bit of cash. I think that might be a good idea because he is a very good left back with 17 natural fitness, so he's not going to decline anytime soon. So, on to season number 4 then, because we've got to start winning some trophies and we've got to find some young Spanish talents to bed into our first team. Season 4 then, and I managed to dump Conor Gallagher to our rivals Barcelona and even managed to steal £53 million for doing so. They did, however, also get our right back in Molina. The Argentinian is 29 now, so that was okay with selling him, and I do have plans to bring in somebody else eventually, but £39 million for his services is not bad. The biggest loss of the summer was William Pacho. He moved to Bayern Munich for £51 million, so he doubled our money, but I was sad to see him go. However, he really wanted to leave. A few more players left for kind of a little bit of money, but not too much. Alexander Sorloth being one, who went to Saudi Arabia for just short of 9 million. He's already got 4 in 4 though. I still couldn't find anybody who wanted to loan Mastan Tuono, so eventually I sent him out to Famalicão, who turns out is an affiliate club of Atletico Madrid, and he's actually getting game time there, so I'm kind of happy. I hope he plays well in the Portuguese top division because he needs the game time. He could be a quality player for us in the next couple of seasons, and although he's not Spanish, develop him into a first-team player is one of my priorities. After losing William Pacho, though, I decided to go big, and I brought in Giorgio Scalvini, one of the best Italian defenders in world football in the next few years, I reckon. And the 23-year-old here joins, and he looks phenomenal already. Did pay a hefty fee of £80 million though, which was almost as much as what we paid for Pedro Porro out of Tottenham. £75 million for the right back. The Spaniard is really good though. He can also play all the way up the front, and if we do decide to go with a right winger, there's not many better in the world who could be good at a defensive right wing. Because you've got the aggression, the work rates there, the passing ability, the crossing, and he's really good at tackling. This guy could be really good if I decide to change formation, but £75 million is a lot of money. And I have decided to change the tactic. I've gone from that narrow 4-3-3 we were rocking with the last few seasons, and I'm going for this. And it's kind of like a Christmas tree formation that I've used in the past and really enjoyed. We've got the players to do so. I am kind of thinking we might need to go for wingers at some point, but right now we don't have the depth to do that. What we do have, though, is fantastic midfield options in the likes of Neves and Thuram and Llorente still here. João Pedro and Baturina need the game time. They're going to get it in behind Victor Gyökeres. Using him as a pressing threat up front and using these guys in behind, I really think we can push on and try and attack down the wings using our very attacking wing backs to try and help us. And Llorente can sit back and make it kind of like a back three. However, I made this decision after going 3 games without scoring a goal using the former system. That false 9 system that we were using previously just wasn't cutting it. We weren't scoring any goals. We did beat Girona 2-1 in the first game of the season, but to then not score in the next 3 against clubs like Mallorca and Celta Vigo, that's not good enough. Let's take the positives from the situation, though. I think we had a great transfer window, and hopefully the side now can be better using this new system. And in La Liga, 86 points is great, but we're still finishing in 3rd place. Barcelona have actually lifted the title this year, as you can see here. Luis Enrique taking the guys all the way to the top, beating out Real Madrid, who still have Carlo Ancelotti, so that is some doing. They actually lost 5 games this season. One of them against us where we battered them 4-0. an unbelievable performance. But Kylian Mbappe did score 44 goals. João Pedro was actually the second top scorer with 20 less goals than he had. However, I can't be bragging too much about it because they did beat us 2-0 in the Copa del Rey final. That's another trophy that we've just missed out on. But the biggest open goal miss for us was losing the Super Cup final against Valencia. I mean, what are we doing? We should be winning that. That's a trophy that we can add to our cabinet to try and get 10 trophies in 10 seasons. We're still only stuck with one. This was an open goal. We missed that open goal. And it's not like we can count on the Champions League right now with us doing so terribly in other competitions. We lost 3 games, including one to Manchester City there, who actually turned out to be the club that eliminated us in the round of 16, 5-4 on aggregate. They went on to win the whole thing, beating Real Madrid in the final. We did have to play in the knockout playoff round. We did beat Leipzig 4-1 and things looked promising. But yeah, then you come up against Erling Haaland in the round of 16 and he scores a lot of goals. So again, I thought the change of tactic would really help us, but 2 runners up, 2 trophies that we've really missed out on. We're not looking like we're going to do much in the league just yet. I'm really concerned about what we're going to do with this season, especially because Victor Gyökeres seemed to pick up a bit of a bad injury. He only played 25 games, which he started, and only got 18 goals, which is a good return, I guess, but we need to be getting way more, and that's the reason why João Pedro got 32. What a signing that was, by the way. I mean, it was costing us a lot of money, £76 million last season, but to get 24 goals from a shadow striker role, that's insane. That's really good. We need more players like that, Luke. I think our trouble is players like Yano Montserrat is playing 44 games starting. I don't know why. I'd rather play Julian Alvarez in there, but this man has seemed to be playing a lot more games on that left side of attacking midfield, so we need to kind of nail somebody in there or find a player who can play there. And remember, in our development list, if you go to loans, we had loaned out Mastan Tuono this season. He only played 20 games, but he did get a bit of development. He's better than Montserrat. Maybe we need to start nailing him into the position, as well as trying to find some Spanish youngsters to start betting into the side as we go into season number 5. The trouble is, our budget going into season number 5 was only £25 million. Financially, we aren't the richest of clubs in Spain, and we do have a rather big debt. However, I decided that our first team was good enough to handle this season. We just need to find a system, so I took a gamble and I signed just 4 players, and all 4 are young Spanish talents. Cristo was probably the worst one out of the lot. I just found it to be a really good deal for £7.5 million, and we signed him from Las Palmas at 17 years of age. Sergio Sanchez is a player that comes in that I'm not really sure he knows what role he wants to play. He's 18 years of age and he has some good physicals and good mentals, but apparently his technicals are left to be desired and he sees himself as a striker. But I do see the potential that my scouts rate in him, and he is good with both feet. The 2 more exciting talents are these 2. Ballesteros, the £10 million goalkeeper that could be the long-term replacement for Oblak, who has 1 or 2 years left. For £10 million that we picked up from Real Betis, I'm going to stick him in the B team, that hopefully he'll be the first team goalkeeper there, because he is already rather talented at 18. But the one I'm most excited about is David, who we've actually loaned back to Malaga this season for first team football. Now, I plan to integrate this player into my first 11 next season, because as you can see, he already could be playing there and could cause some damage. But getting first team football back in Malaga, where he is in the 2nd division, where he can thrive a little bit more, is probably better for his development. There is also, however, a few players that have come through our youth system, such as Fernando Gracia, who can play naturally on both right back and left back. I've put him into the first team now to see whether he can cause trouble. As you can see, he's been from our youth academy, so maybe that's another option, as well as Juan Torres. Again, it's another right back, so I need them to kind of make their mind up who's going to be the better player, but he has a lot of potential, 18 years of age. He's also playing the Athletic B side as well, so hopefully he gets game time either way. Yeah, I just need to decide. I mean, Franco Mastantuono is going to get game time this year. I'm going to make sure that he gets as many games under his belt as possible in an Atletico Madrid shirt, because he could be fantastic. After maybe a bit of a lackluster loan signing in Portugal, he's already kicked things off this season with a bang. 3 goals and an assist, plus a player of the match in just 5 games. And that's tactically still playing a very similar 11 to what we were, a very similar system to what we were last season, just with a couple of little tweaks. I mean, Victor Gyökeres has picked up yet another injury and he's out for nearly 2 months, so Julian Alvarez has been filling in for now. But it has started rather well. We have lost to Real Madrid 3-1, but we were down to 10 men after taking the lead through Mastantuono from Pedro Porro's mistake, getting a straight red card, and they went on to win then at home. So outside of that, if you consider that as, okay, let's just cut our losses, it's been rather positive. 4-0 win against Almeria, 4-1 against Sevilla. We're scoring a lot of goals now. Valencia 3-1. Obviously, we lost against them in the Super Cup recently, and 2-0 against Alaves. It's a good start to the season. We need to keep that going, because if we are going to complete this challenge, we need to start winning some trophies, especially this season. So let's kick season number 5 underway and simulate the rest of the season and find out whether we can add to our trophy cabinet and whether we can integrate some of these youngsters. I can't even be mad that we haven't won the league here. I mean, we've got 97 points, which is absolutely phenomenal in 38 games, but Real Madrid, they didn't win just 3 games. They lost 1 and drew 2 and won 35 out of 38. We're the only team to beat them, which is kind of lucky, really, that they didn't go invincible when they came to us and we beat them 2-1, but we lost 5 in total. Some of the games there we should not be losing, but we did lose against both Barcelona and Real Madrid, unfortunately. Mbappe had 42 goals. We don't have anybody up there, which is kind of worrying in a way, but still we performed quite well. And João Pedro was down there with 19 goals, which was the joint 5th highest, but look how much is dominated by Real Madrid players there. They also beat us in the Super Cup, so we're still only at 1 trophy. That was until we reached the Copa del Rey final against Barcelona and won the game 2-0 with Weston McKennie scoring the first, and then from another corner, João Pedro whips one in and Scalvini is at the back post to lift the trophy for us. Okay, I'm actually really happy with that. Domestically, we have had a fantastic season. We got 97 points in the league. The Copa del Rey was lifted by an Atletico Madrid player. But what about the Champions League? Once again, we can't even get to the quarter-final. We're knocked out in the knockout playoff round, this time by AC Milan 2-1, who of course won it a few seasons back. The actual winners this year was Newcastle on penalties, beating Chelsea in the final, but the league phase, really disappointing. We were almost not even making it. We lost to 3 Premier League sides, Chelsea, Arsenal and Man City. We drew 3 games as well, 3 games that we really should be winning, and we only won 2 of the games. Against AC Milan was one of them, the team that eventually went and knocked us out. So I don't understand what's going on in Europe, but we just haven't found our feet yet. Now, going into next season, that needs to change, because we need to start performing better in these competitions to actually attract players. Some of our players now are unhappy that we're not reaching the latter stages of the Champions League. We do have £60 million though. I don't know where we've got that from, because financially we are still in a little bit of trouble and still have a lot of debt. But I will take that. Goals are still a problem for us, though. Victor Gyökeres, I don't know what's happened. He didn't even get to 10 goals this season. He's really fell off a cliff, and he's wanted, so it might be time to say goodbye to him after a few good seasons and then one terrible one. But he's in his 30s now. We could cash in on him and then hopefully spend the money elsewhere and bring in somebody else. João Pedro's been a breath of fresh air. I'm really glad we brought him in. Mastantuono in his first season got 16 goals and 5 assists. That's not bad. I do want to highlight, though, one of our youngsters went out on loan and got 17 goals this season, playing at Celta Vigo, who are in the 2nd division there. He's a striker with 7 finishing. So I can't guarantee he's going to do too well, but he definitely has everything else to be a good striker at 19. Now, in the summer of season number 6, I did exactly what I said I was going to do, and I sold Pervis Estupiñán for £29 million. Not bad after 2 seasons from a free transfer. And I also decided to cash in on Victor Gyökeres. 31 years of age now, and that season was just a little bit unforgivable for me, and we managed to get pretty much all of our money back, plus an extra £1 million. Coming in the door is our new left-back that we have signed, Amar Dedic. The Bosnian came in from Manchester City for £53 million. And I also picked up a French centre-back in Bastien Mapieu, who I've never even heard or seen before, but he looks fantastic. He's left-footed as well. Those physicals are phenomenal. And we actually got him from Chelsea for £69 million, but if you ever want to sign him, he's at Nantes. So it was actually kind of a quiet transfer window, just 2 main guys out, as well as a load of free transfers, including Jose Jimenez, who's finally left the club. Kind of sad to see him go, but he wasn't really a first-team player for a while. A lot of loan signings also went out, but things have changed. Tactically, I've got to try and win some trophies, so I'm going to try and go for our defensive wingers that we love here on the Omega Loot channel and see what we can do. I'm also nailing in David into that shadow striker role. It might be silly. We haven't replaced Victor Gyökeres. Instead, I'm just going to bump up João Pedro, and he can fight it out with Julian Alvarez for that advanced forward role. And putting David there, I think, does that, because then Mastan Tuono can go on the left-hand side. And I also want to stick these two guys in here too. Ballesteros as a first-team player. It's a risk, I know. It's definitely a risk, especially when Jan Oblak is still around. But he is 36 now. He doesn't really have any pace, but the technical abilities and mental abilities are fantastic. It's just we need to give Ballesteros some game time so he can actually develop into a player. And I think that needs to be now. And of course, one of the challenges for us is to integrate 3 Spanish youngsters into this Atletico side and develop them into first-team players. And those two definitely fit the role. It might, however, cost us, though, in the short run, because in the league, Real Madrid battered us 2-0. However, in the long run, it's a risk I'm willing to take. Let's simulate season number 6. We are 6 seasons in here, and I think we could be in trouble because we're no closer to winning the league. 85 points to Real Madrid's 97. We're still in 3rd place. We're still in the shadow of Real Madrid here and their unbelievable side. Carlo Ancelotti's not going anywhere. Neither's all of their best players. I don't know what I'm going to do. We did, however, finally win the Super Cup with a 100th minute winner against Real Madrid in extra time. So that is trophy number 3 after 6 seasons. We couldn't add the Copa del Rey to this, however, because Girona knocked us out in the quarterfinals. Nor could we once again reach the quarterfinals of the Champions League because Bayern Munich knocked us out after we took a 2-0 first leg win. They beat us 4-0 in the second leg, and then, to top it all off, they went on and won the whole thing. So we need to think of something quick, because we're scoring a lot of goals, but not enough to be able to challenge for any trophies. We've only got £30 million in the bank for next season. Do we decide to cash in? Maybe we need to tweak this tactic a little bit to suit us a lot more, because playing Thuram on the left is great, but maybe we need some more firepower. So in season number 7, throughout the summer, I decided to sell Julian Alvarez. Of course, he came in for us at the start of season number 1, and he has done well, but he's never really lit the league on fire. But he's gone for £49 million, and I feel good about that with him being 30 years old. The second player, unfortunately, is Portuguese and not Spanish, so doesn't count within that, but he's still a phenomenal player. He's right-footed, but can also play on the left because he has a strong left foot at centre-back. And just at 20 years old, he has some of the most mental attributes I've ever seen. He could do with a little bit more composure. The physical attributes will hopefully come, but he is 6'6". He is a giant at the back. He is already really good. Great technique too. And we got him for £40 million. Now, I have adapted the tactic, and you might think I'm crazy, but I've taken a striker out, and we are going strikerless with 3 attacking midfielders. We're using inverted wingbacks to help that. We're still using the defensive wingers to hopefully make us a lot more harder to beat and break down. And it's kind of working, kind of not. We have stopped conceding goals. We've only conceded 2 goals in our first 4 games, and we're very inconsistent in terms of scoring them. We got 5 against Cadiz and 2 against Athletic Bilbao, but it cost us against Valencia and Real Sociedad. The question is, will it cost us across the whole season? Because season number 7 kicks off now, and we need to start winning some trophies. One trophy we weren't going to win was the Copa del Rey, because we were eliminated in the quarter-final against Barcelona. We only actually scored 2 goals in the 90th and the 94th minute. However, we're going into the final month of the season with a chance. It's a small chance, but it's a chance of lifting not 1, but 2 trophies, because we are in the Champions League semi-final, and we have a 2-0 advantage going into the second leg against this Barcelona side. Not to mention, we also have a small chance of finally winning La Liga, because we are just a point behind the same Barcelona team, although they do have a game in hand, and there's roughly about 5 games left. That second leg of the Champions League semi-final, though, was incredible, and our Atletico Madrid side destroyed Barcelona at the Nou Camp 3-0 to go to the final. We then also beat them in May at the Nou Camp 3-1 in La Liga. But we had a rough May because we also had to go to the Bernabeu and we took the lead once again through Orts. And even before half-time, Pedro Porro was running down the right-hand side and the unthinkable happened. Masnan Tuono put us 2-0 up at the Bernabeu. Real Madrid, of course, are always going to be dangerous. And a break down the left-hand side and a ball was cut back to Masteros, who put it into the net. However, we held on and we defeated Real Madrid 2-1 at the Bernabeu. And while that was happening, Barcelona was dropping points against the Mallorca side, 0-0. Which meant this win against Real Madrid on the final day of the season helped us clinch the title, as Barcelona absolutely bottled it against Mallorca, who, let's face it, 12th place Mallorca side should not be holding Barcelona to a 0-0 draw, and we win the league title, and deserve to as well. We only lost one game all season, 97 points. It's another trophy to add to our cabinet. It's only our 4th trophy. We need 10 in total. And we've got a couple of players up there with the highest goal scorers. Mastan Tuono with 24, João Pedro with 21. We've caught Real Madrid on an off season, and that doesn't happen very often. But it's another trophy to add. And we could be in with another as we face Liverpool in the Champions League final. And in that Champions League final, there was just one goal scored, and that was by Trent Alexander-Arnold. But thankfully for us, it was in his own net. Yes, guys, I don't believe it, but somehow we have lifted the Champions League trophy after not being even able to get to the quarterfinals in any other season. So season number 7 has been a hugely successful season. And look at that, Ballesteros, man of the match in the Champions League final. Putting our faith in him early has paid off a massive amount because he has developed quite well. He has won us games. He's won us trophies now, and that's another trophy we can add going into and give us momentum going into season number 8 and putting our faith into the youngsters. A phenomenal run towards the end of the season, as you can see, beating huge sides and not dropping any points in the league meant that we come away with a double in season number 7. And so we need to capitalize on that. Season number 7 was hugely successful. This style of play and strikerless tactic has paid off massively so far, so we need to keep making sure we've got enough players to fill those roles in case we've got injuries and stuff. We are starting to struggle with that, but bringing in these youngsters has been fantastic. Transfer budget, £36 million going into season number 8. And so finally we have a La Liga title. We're ahead of Real Madrid. We've also been crowned as the champions of Europe, our first Champions League win, and we started to integrate some young Spanish talent. It feels like our plan is all coming together here at our time at Atletico Madrid, which meant that our transfer window was rather quiet. On the outs, only Amin Gori really left the club from the first team, 31 years of age, never really played that many games, but getting a free transfer and then selling him on for £28 million is just good business. On the ins, we signed this Belgian midfielder who I actually think could even fill in out on the wings with his 14 crossing, a very talented player, only 22 years of age, from Bayern Munich for £33 million. I also took a gamble on this right midfielder who can also play centre attacking midfield. He has really good finishing ability. His only real weakness is his physicals, because that lack of pace is kind of worrying, and only 11 natural fitness. But he's only 20 years of age, he's Portuguese, and we picked him up from Porto for £15 million. I did, however, have plans to bring up another Spanish youngster from our youth academy. Geronimo Pena comes in to that centre attacking midfield role, and as you can see, he's been playing in the youth academy and doing quite well. He's picked up quite a lot of appearances for the under-19s, getting a lot of goals and a lot of assists. He could be the next talent that we develop into our first team, because when he plays, I think he could be really good at this shadow striker on the left-hand side. He's left-footed after all, but the number of players that we've got in these positions now are very, very good and strong. We've got Hector Forte, who I kind of forgot that we had signed on a free transfer in one of the first couple of seasons in, and he is now developed after quite a lot of loan deals into our starting right back above Jan Couto. We started off the season in the UEFA Super Cup against the Europa League winners Manchester United, and there was only one goal in the game scored by Yeremy Pino of Manchester United. Outside of that though, we have been very good. In the first 3 league games, we haven't played anybody too strong, but 5-1, 5-0, and 3-0. We've really kicked this season off with a bang. In the 5-0 win against Mallorca, we didn't even allow them to have a shot and had 31 of our own with 14 on target. That is obscene. So with our 8 campaign well underway, let's simulate the rest of the season and see what happens and whether or not we can capitalize on the 2 trophies we won last year. Things are looking very good for us as the first trophy that popped up, the Super Cup this season, we managed to win and beat Barcelona in the final 4-1. And that's our 6th trophy to add to our cabinet out of 10. But no, we won't be adding the Copa del Rey to our cabinet this season. Quarter-final eliminated by Sevilla 2-1. The Champions League started very well as well. 2 losses in the league campaign against Arsenal and Manchester United, but we won 6, including beating Liverpool, and had an 8-1 win. Plus we beat Rennes. And going into the round of 16, we defeated Feyenoord 4-3 after losing the first leg 3-0. And we even knocked out Barcelona in the quarterfinals 1-0. But the semi-finals was as far as we got from retaining the Champions League as Manchester United defeated us 3-1 and went on to beat Bayern Munich in the final 1-0. However, we did manage to retain the La Liga title despite Kylian Mbappe being back and scoring 28 goals. Real Madrid finished down in 5th place. No idea how that happened, but it doesn't matter. We've won our 7th trophy with 92 points, 4 points ahead of Barcelona. Real Madrid down in 5th, and it's no longer Carlo Ancelotti. It's now Simone Inzaghi. If we have a look at their managers, it actually hasn't been Ancelotti for a while. Graham Potter came in. He was then sacked after a year, and Simone Inzaghi somehow manages to keep his job at this point despite finishing in 5th place with one of the best Real Madrid sides. Although, I say that, last season they lost Jude Bellingham to £55 million to PSG and Vinicius Jr. for £22 million to Newcastle. Can't believe I didn't see that and try and sign them myself. I was just thinking to myself then, maybe I can capitalise and sign one of their players now, but I don't think I really need to. This team is developing amazingly well, and we've got the Spanish players in there that we wanted to start progressing and developing, and Peña has been one of those players. Look how good he is after just 1 season. Raul Orts is also developing really nicely, and of course our goalkeeper Ballesteros has been phenomenal. Those 3 alone have been great, but David's in there too. He's been getting some game time in and around the first team. He's 23 now. I think he would need more game time in the first team and possibly starting more games if we were to really develop him as one of those players. But we've got 2 years left, and those 3 guys that I mentioned previously are definitely going to be first team players by the end of season number 10. What's good to see though is the board are backing us. £112 million with a very favourable wage budget as well, and that's because our finances are looking a little bit healthier than what they were previously, and the debts and loans have almost been wiped completely. And so we started season number 9 selling a couple of players including Baturina, who left to go to Porto for £33 million. We also say goodbye to Kefren Turam, and this one was a sad one. I didn't really want to lose him, but it was time to cash in £45 million after he made 35 appearances last season. But don't panic, I've brought in 3 new players to replace these that have left, as well as a new right back for £89 million. And it's a right back with 16 finishing. This guy is insane. I almost got him last season when he moved to Manchester United, but he already agreed to go there with a work permit pending. So instead I just waited. And £89 million later, just a season after he has made the move and already scored a goal and got 2 assists. Joining Ernest Yeboah at Atletico Madrid though, first off, we needed a new goalkeeper, so Florian Diaz joined from Boca Juniors, and then finally Remy Verlinde from Club Brugge, and this guy I'm going to train to play in that left midfield role, which is exactly where Kefren Turam was playing. There's no need to change the tactic, but what I am going to do is make sure Peña, Orts and Ballesteros are all nailed in, as well as our new signing Verlinde, to make sure that they get the most game time possible as we go into season number 9. And to say that it's been a good start to the season is probably the biggest understatement of the video so far. We have been absolutely outstanding. Alright, we haven't played anybody amazing yet, but we're still just destroying teams 4-1, 4-1, 6-2, 3-1. and even a 5-2 there. We're scoring so many goals. We're looking comfortable. Yes, we're leaking goals, but we never look like we're about to drop any points. So hopefully this season we can capitalize on our good run in the league and make it back to back to back. Get a nice 3-peat in there. And who knows? Maybe another Champions League. So let's simulate season number 9 and see how we get on, and see also how many trophies we can add to our trophy cabinet this season. Starting with the Super Cup, it's another trophy to add to our trophy cabinet. It's a 6-2 win against Villarreal in the final. And we also managed to clinch the league with 104 points, only losing 2 games all season, drawing another 2 as well. We were fantastic. We had players scoring a lot of goals, and Raul Orts getting 27 as well. The development has been fantastic for him. João Pedro getting 24, and I kind of don't even want to sell him. I just want to keep him around. He's definitely been the buy of this whole video. And João Pedro also has the highest average rating. We have been fantastic. Clean sheets. Ballesteros managed to get 17. The development from him has been phenomenal. That, my friends, is the 9th trophy. We just need 1 more, and it's the 3rd La Liga title, meaning we have completed that challenge as well. What would have been sweet is that we won the 10th trophy in season number 9, so we didn't have to worry about it, but Sevilla had other ideas in the 96th minute of the Copa del Rey final. Again, Pedro Porro got a red card as well in the final in the 7th minute. So we basically played 90 minutes down to 10 men. They got a really late winner. It's just so unlucky. Oh, but guys, remember when we beat Liverpool in the Champions League final? Well, they got their revenge. They beat us 3-2 in the final. Trent Alexander-Arnold is captain in this side, not scoring own goals. He did come off, though. We couldn't win. We couldn't win the Champions League. Capping off of the Champions League would have been unbelievable, but we couldn't do it. Aidan O'Neill, who I've seen and tried to buy before, is absolutely phenomenal. Imagine having him in your side. But he has got a Liverpool shirt on, and he scored 2 goals in the final. And they went on to lift the trophy. So unfortunately, we haven't won our 10th trophy in our 9th season. We're going to have to wait till season number 10 to complete it. But overall, it's a fantastic season. We've played every single game possible. We were very, very close from going, well, into a treble win. I can't really count Super Cup. We're counting Super Cup as a trophy, but we can't count it as a treble. What I think we can do, though, is tick off that we have developed 3 Spanish youngsters into first-team players, because this season alone proves how well Raul Orts has done. Kind of the same as Peña. I mean, development-wise, he's not as amazing, but he is only 20 years of age, and he's still done very well. 20 goals, 18 assists. And of course, Ballesteros is now our #1 goalkeeper, and he is absolutely fantastic. He is unhappy, though. Probably a contract that we have to deal with. It is a new deal. But Remy Valinde on the left-hand side has paid off massively. He's now natural in that position. He's fitted in the role perfectly. A really good, solid player to have on that left-hand side as a defensive winger. So going into season number 10, I felt like we didn't really need to add too much to the side or lose any players. So I didn't sell anybody. All I did was bring in this man here. A backup, really, for that centre defensive midfield option in behind, who I think would be João Neves to play there regularly. And once again, here I am saying that we've probably started the season in the most dominant fashion that we have done yet in this video. Because results like this 4-0 win against Real Betis, where we dominated the game, just seems to be coming way too often. If you look at this at the start of the season, 4-1 against Bilbao, 7-0 against Real Zaragoza, and even 2-1, the only close game we've had, against Real Sociedad away from home. And so as we go into the final season, only needing 1 more trophy, let's see if we can do it and simulate season number 10. Well, it was a no-go in the Super Cup as we lost in the semi-final on penalties to Barcelona. We also only made the round of 16 in the Champions League after Bayern Munich eliminated us after what seemed like a good start, just missing out on the automatics and having to go through the knockout playoff round, but comfortably getting past Real Betis. So now I'm getting rather worried because we need 1 more trophy and we need to either win the Copa del Rey or the La Liga title. And it's not going to be the Copa del Rey as Barcelona again eliminate us at the semi-final stage. They went on to win the competition, but they beat us 6-3 on aggregate. It all relies on the La Liga. And I cannot believe that we have bottled it. Not only have we bottled it, but Real Madrid have come out of nowhere and won the title in an invincible season. Now, I'm not being funny, but this is the same Real Madrid that last season was down in 5th place and the season before that was down in 5th place. And all of a sudden now, they're going unbeaten and getting 106 points. And somehow we've just completely bottled this whole challenge in the final season. Needed just one trophy. We've really clawed it back after not getting anything in the first 5 years either. The first 5 or 6 years. I cannot believe that we have managed to bottle it that bad. I mean, now in charge of Real Madrid is still Inzaghi. It's still... How did they keep him in the job so long? How did he all of a sudden change it and go unbeaten across the season? I have no idea. I have no idea. But anyway, I mean, I can't be too mad. This team has been outstanding for me. It has been absolutely outstanding. I've actually, considering I'm not the biggest Atletico Madrid fan, mainly because of the manager, I have really enjoyed this 10-season takeover with Atletico Madrid. I really love some of the players that we have brought in, and the fact that we've managed to develop these 3 youngsters as well as a few other ones to become such an unbelievable side. I mean, I think needs to go to João Pedro. I think he has been our best signing of this whole competition, or this whole video. Getting in for £76 million, and every single season he performed from us in that centre attacking midfield spot. I think he's been phenomenal. But what a team this is, what a tactic this is, and I know a lot of people are going to be asking for it. On the YouTube channel members or on the Patreon, the save game file will be going out to everybody on that £5 tier, and you can pick it up right now. Whether you want to continue the save because you got £128 million, maybe you just want to have a look at it, or maybe you want to steal the tactic. But yeah, I might do a video on the tactic as well, because I do love this setup. I do love the defensive wingers. The fact that it's strikerless and has been so good for us all the way up into that final year has been amazing. But I hope you enjoyed the video. We managed to accomplish a lot of the challenges, just not the 10 trophies, only getting 9 in the 10 seasons. But keep your suggestions coming in, keep the love coming in, really do appreciate it as we come on towards FM25. And why not watch this video right here? Because to be honest, Bordeaux, they were looking like they weren't going to exist anymore, so I decided to give them a rebuild of their own.